Hello and welcome to Woven in Time. My name is Lisette, and if you've already kind of been in this space with me, this space was previously known as Illuminating Crossroads, and I just wanted to give a little update because there's just been so much happening over the summer and things are finally starting to kind of settle again. And I felt called to just provide a little bit of reflection along my journey in case it's supportive to you, and then just to kind of set some intention for the shift in the space that we're all co-creating together. So, just to give a little bit of a background, if you will, I've been cultivating Illuminating Crossroads for like almost the past 4 years. So it was a really big decision to kind of choose to move that essence of business, if you will, to a winter phase. And I really do hope to evolve Illuminating Crossroads in the future towards an accessible community space that can be like a nonprofit. So if anyone knows any like resources or has started a nonprofit in their own journey, please let me know your experience or anything like that, because I would love some insights as I slowly, easefully soften into allowing that to unfold when that time is right. But basically, I've been doing a lot of deep reflection and really just tuning into like what has most supported me along my journey of healing and honestly remembering and coming back to just allowing myself to be more of who I am a bit more each and every day. And it's funny because I find that like a lot of the times during the readings, especially because I love focusing on the lunar cycles, my guides, or my spiritual team, as I like to call them, they always like emphasize like being sure that we're celebrating and that I'm celebrating. And as there's been this season for me of like deep grieving on many levels, from like the loss of a family member to like coming to a level of acceptance in a more deeply embodied way of like understanding that some of the relational like connections within family, just they might not be what I'm picturing in my mind or what I'm deeply desiring in that way. And also just allowing for some old masks that I've been wearing, and just all these components of what it means to allow fragments of our identity to like compost. And in that also of like grieving of like knowing that like the way that I've been sustaining or moving within business and offerings is not sustainable. And I think it's really fitting because we're like gonna be moving into eclipse season soon, and for me, I have Virgo in my 11th house and Chiron is there for me. And I've always like moved through this process within my life of like trying to like come to terms with like knowing that like I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to try and please everyone. And then, but also seeing on the same front of like what it means to like have like love to extend, to be compassionate with everyone, like thinking of this opposite end of the polarity axis of like that Pisces energy. So it's just been really interesting because as we've been moving through this season with all these retrogrades as well, and especially with a Mercury retrograde in Leo, which for me is in my 10th house, and just thinking of like, yeah, like what is the legacy that I want to leave? How do I want to allow myself to be seen by others or within communities, and what connections am I actually desiring now, and what is resonant now as opposed to who I was really at the beginning of summer, or even in the springtime. And I think that's such a fruitful question to really ask ourselves, collectively at this time as well, of there has been so many just shifts and changes and unexpected things that have been happening, and a lot of detoxing within the collective energies, but also within our own. And now, as we're preparing to really step into embodying higher octaves of energies that hopefully, those who are ready to take on those energies more consciously have really stepped into this essence of maturing and accepting responsibility. And so it's just very interesting, and just reflecting on this and seeing how, these different energies that I love working with, how they've been guiding me. And even in those really challenging and painful moments, I was still and am still so grateful for the resources that I've gathered over the past decade, when I essentially more consciously started my healing journey, just because there was a lot for me in regards to just inner child workings and with family things and all the things. So it is really refreshing to look back to 2025 and to see, or 2025, that's funny, that's this year. I meant to say to 2015 and see since then to now what has changed and shifted, and then to look back to 2020 and to see where I was and what has shifted. So if you have been navigating some friction and some challenges, and maybe you feel like you're finally starting to move through these things, really looking at these milestones that you've passed, and really giving yourself credit, because that's something that I've been doing that has deeply been really supportive, especially because sometimes we can get trapped within old, let's say, stories within our mind. And sometimes it could just be one fragment of a story that's trying to linger on into our system based on us being in this survival reactive mode, if you will, and remembering that we don't have to, necessarily, depending on how our situations have shifted, this is generally speaking, we don't have to try and survive in that way that we once did, because we're not in that same situation. So there's always an invitation to pivot, to change, and to choose something new. So with that being said, I've chosen to allow myself a space that feels like it can hold the essence of core components that I've noticed in my life, of things are always really deeply changing all the time, but I've just noticed for me there's just this desire to be able to have this essence that can hold all these array of things that I've been exploring, that I've been doing, and that I can just shift with over time. And I just didn't feel like Illuminating Crossroads could necessarily do that for me. And also the essence of Illuminating Crossroads, because when we are starting businesses or projects or anything like that, that creation being birthed through us, it really does have its own essence. And I used to always say, like, even though I was holding space for other people and, doing Reiki and sound and hosting group spaces through Illuminating Crossroads, I always felt like I was like a client of Illuminating Crossroads. And it was just because I would move through the process with Illuminating Crossroads, and then I would step into supporting others within that process. And, it's so interesting to see, like, I have no clue fully what Woven in Time will be, or Woven in Time with Lisette, which is an ode to, having my name in the, I guess, branding, if you will, of like allowing myself and giving myself more permission to choose to be more confident and embodied in all that I've moved through and all the resources that I have gathered that I really do want to share with others. So I hope all of this is making sense. And if it is resonating, or even if you're moving through something of like you've been holding on to something that you created a while ago and now you feel ready to shift into something new, of like really honoring what you're feeling in your heart. And it's so interesting because I have just been continuing to take action on little things that are sparking something within me, and it's like restoking my inner fire, which has been so refreshing. Because to me, like, even though like I talk about astrology and I do these intuitive readings on here and the sound journeys or the visualizations and what have you, but like that, like all of these things are very core in my life. Like it's an extension of my experience in life. Like I'm always contemplating different things, and I'm always, desiring to seek the highest lesson or the highest wisdom within an experience. So to me, this space is deeply intimate, and it is very soul-led for me. It's very heart-led, and I just want to really extend, any nuggets from my own journey and any like practices, or just like allowing myself to be a conduit for that which is for the highest and greatest good for whomever listens, for you. So basically this will be the new space. So it is Woven in Time with Lisette, and I also have a newsletter, a Substack newsletter. So if you want to join that, I'll drop that in the description down below. And I did do a post on here, I think it was probably 2 months ago now. I feel like I've experienced 3 years in the past 2 months, but I'm going to still move forward with the content schedule that I had announced before. So moving forward, I will be doing a month ahead collective intuitive reading. And then I'll be doing a new and full moon collective reading as well. So just any messages that want to pour through for us as a collective. And then I'll do one sound journey as well. And it might include some visualization or gentle breath work, if you will. So, and for that one, I do, like, feel free to let me know, like, give me feedback if there's something specific that you're tuning into that you'd like to experience as a journey for the month ahead. And then I will be expanding on some other offerings that I kind of started up just to explore, to see if it resonates with me and all that good jazz. So I'm really excited to continue to slowly build into this, essentially this whole new I'm like, do I want to say new? I just feel like regenerated essence of like me and my experience, and I'm really excited to just see what the rest of the year holds for not just myself, but for all of us. I know so many people who are taking very beautiful jumps and leaps of faith. And I think that that's the most important thing to remember, that when we do come towards allowing ourselves to embody more of our soul's highest expression, there's a lot of things that we can't really fully process with our mind. And we can continue to go round and round within our mental or emotional body, but to what end? Sometimes we continue to leave ourselves within this essence of suffering when it's we don't have to suffer anymore. So I do hope that something within this little share, this update, inspired you, and I do hope that you continue to take little baby steps that really inspire you and to really honor your internal wisdom, because that is what this space is about, to really empower you. So it has the same essence, the same medicine as Illuminating Crossroads, but just with a new, I feel new, deeper clarity. Because when I created Illuminating Crossroads, it was when I was in a place of confusion, and even though I still don't know everything that's unfolding within my life, nor will I, there's so much more peace and clarity in a way that I can't put to words. And I think that is what I want to share, and hopefully inspiring you to know that whatever you're working through, whatever you're moving through, to just continue to take those baby steps and to really tune in to what feels expansive and what is expansive in a way that's not just logically expansive, but you feel it in your heart. There's that coherence between your mind, your heart, and just your body, right? Our physical vessel, which gives us so many indicators that sometimes, we don't fully pay attention to. So, with all that being said, I do hope that if it resonates with you to stay within this community space, that you will continue to receive all that is most supportive. And if this change no longer resonates with you, I guess I didn't say what I would be sharing, so it's still focused on astrology, intuitive readings, or maybe I did, and sound healing journeys. And as you can see, I don't really make scripts because I just like speaking from my heart, although I try and make little notes, but indeed. So yeah, and then it will continue to grow as it will. And then I am working on some more intimate community spaces, so there'll be some announcements on other things coming up soon. And the next thing that I'll be posting will be a little intuitive reading for the Aquarius full moon, and then I'm going to do a recorded experiential practice for the Aquarius full moon, so you can kind of get a little teaser for an offering that I'll be announcing within that video. So this time, for real, that is it from me. So thank you so much for witnessing me along my journey and allowing me to be a mirror within yours. And I'm sending you so much love, and thank you again so much for just being here. And take care until next time. Bye.